And I think we are live. I think we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to My Baby Experts. It's our breast sleeping Q&A. Woohoo! It is another month. I can't even believe it. A whole month went by, and it is time again for my favorite night. Like literally, this has become my favorite night, my favorite stream, my favorite live that we do, because I have my favorite guest here with me, Rebecca Michi. Hello, Rebecca.
Hey, Shari, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm so good and so happy to be back with you again. It's
Yeah.
the first Wednesday of the month. I can't.
I know. Where's the year going?
No, it's crazy. It's totally
like
crazy.
an old lady thing to say, isn't it? I remember when my mom and my grandma would say that. We're just like, where's the year going? And you just think, what? And now here I am. Oh, where's the year going?
Hey, where's the decade gone? That's how I feel. Don't talk old lady. I'll tell you about an old lady. Oh my goodness. Anyway, where are we? Right. Hi, everybody. Okay, everybody's jumping in. Hi, guys. Yes, welcome. Well, we have a really good Q&A scheduled and set up for you here again tonight. Excited to be back with all of you. Anyone who's new, if you're watching for the first time, my name is Shari Criso. I am a registered nurse, a certified nurse midwife, and an international board certified lactation consultant. And I have been broadcasting this My Baby Expert show for the last 10 years. 10 years, yes.
Where's the decade gone?
That's what I said. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Where has the decade gone? It has gone. It has just, it's flying by. And you know what? It's getting better. That's what's so awesome. It's getting better. And everyone that I get to spend time with getting better and more of them. And there's nothing better than this. So I just first of all want to give Rebecca a moment to be able to say hi. Introduce yourself, Rebecca. Let everybody know who you are.
Great, thank you. My name is Rebecca Michi. I am a Seattle-based children's sleep consultant and author. I'm a gentle sleep consultant, which means that we're using really gentle hands-on techniques. If we're doing any sleep training whatsoever, we can actually get a lot of better sleep without doing any of the big scary stuff. And that's really what I'm looking at, is trying to get the best possible sleep with realistic sleep expectations and getting it as easy as possible, because parenting is hard enough without having to make it any more difficult when trying to get some better sleep. So easy, easy all the way.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. And that's why I love working with Rebecca, because I feel like our two methods, whether it's my breastfeeding and her sleeping methods, just go so hand in hand, because breastfeeding and sleeping do go hand in hand,
Yep.
but particularly the way that we approach it really does. And that's just wonderful. So I want to take a moment to just thank our sponsors too, because our partners are in the room. I see the lovely ladies from Love to Dream. They're in the room here. Hi, guys. So Love to Dream is our partner tonight, and we have special prizes from them. And we also have prizes from Breast Support Pillow. And the last 2 months, we've kind of combining those two together for our Q&As, and it's just been a great combination of something that you can use, an amazing tool to help your baby sleep, an amazing tool to help you breastfeed your baby. And those are those two things, and I'm going to show you them in just a few minutes. So first of all, I'm over here in New Jersey, and we have about 18 inches of snow. I'm not kidding. We got like over a foot today. So I'm just super grateful that we actually have lights on, and that we had internet tonight, and that I was able to do this, because I wasn't sure if we were going to make it. Honestly, I wasn't sure. When that snow kept coming down, I'm like, oh my God, are we even going to go live? So we are here.
We had beautiful sunny and about 50 degrees today.
Oh, please. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
You know what? You wake up on a day like this and everything's shut down over here, and you forget that the rest of the world is going on with their daily life.
Yeah.
Yeah. For us, it was not like that. For us, it was not like that. Yeah. So let me hear from the chat room for a moment. Where is everybody from? Go ahead and post. Tell me where you are tonight, somewhere in the world. We have moms, dads from all over the world that join us every week. So I'd love to hear where you are. And I'd also love to hear, where are you in your mommy experience right now? Are you expecting your first? Are you home with a new baby? Do you have 4 children at home? Where are you, and what's your home situation and your mama experience like right now for you? Okay, so go ahead and post those two things, and that way we can get a little idea about who's here tonight, and that will help Rebecca and I, as we're answering our questions, to really try to personalize this to all of you. Okay, we did get a tremendous amount of questions. Okay, it was crazy. There were so many questions, and that post was shared like over 4,000 times. So it was very interesting to watch, and Rebecca said, well, anytime you have a picture with a boob, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
You're right. You are right. You are all right about that, for sure. And one other thing I wanted to mention, do we want to have anybody jump in with us tonight to ask a question?
Well, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, Joe's going to go ahead and post into the actual post itself the link if anybody wants to jump in at any point and ask us a question on camera. Okay, on camera. That means you'll have to come out of the stream for a moment, click on the link that Joe will put into the post, and then I will see you show up here and you can ask your question for Rebecca and I. All right. Otherwise, they're saying I'm very echoey. I knew it. I don't know.
I don't hear it.
You hear it? Do you guys hear an echo? Do you guys hear an echo? I hope not. All right, we'll keep going here. Hopefully, very unstable sometimes, this Be Live.
Yeah.
What? Is it the same link as last time? No, it's a different link. I sent it to you. It's bit.ly/LIV 3-7-18. Here, I'm going to post it up. I actually put it here. And then you can see it, Joe. Where is it? Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay. So if you want to jump in, Joe's going to put that link so you can click right on it and you can join us tonight. Okay. You got it, Joe? Yeah. All right. Awesome. Let's, before we get started with the first question, let me just show everybody the Love to Dream for a moment, okay? So this is Love to Dream, and it is the best, seriously, the best baby's hair is a little bit crazy, a little crazy tonight. The best sleep suit, I'm gonna call it, okay? Sleep sack on the market, all right? By far the best. And the reason why it is so different and unique is because the baby's arms are in an up position. This is called the swaddle up. And because that's why they call it a swaddle up, the arms are up in a much more natural position for a baby. A position that this is how they like to be, with their hands up versus tied down, but at the same time giving them that security feeling where you're able to suppress that Moro reflex, that startle reflex, and keep their hands close to their face where they can self-soothe and they can suck on their hands and stroke their face and all the things that will help them to soothe themselves. So it's a fantastic, fantastic product. This is the Love to Dream Swaddle Up, and this is one of our prizes tonight. Actually, we got the Swaddle Up and we've got the 50-50, the one that the arms will actually zip off, and I'm going to show you a video about that in just a little while, so you just hang tight, okay? But we're going to give away 3 prizes tonight, 3 winners, okay? 3 winners, and you'll get to choose between the Swaddle Up and the 50-50, and you'll get to choose any style color, even for the designer collection. So anything you want, you'll get to pick. 3 winners, okay? To win one of those, you just need to like this post. Okay, and you need to comment here. Tell me what you love about it, which one you would choose, why, how it will help you. All right, and so that's the way to win. The other prize that we have is from our amazing partners at Breast Support Pillow. And this is the Breast Support Pillow, which I've shown to you all before. Okay, and if you haven't seen it, what this is, let me get rid of this so you can see what I'm saying. Hold on a second. Okay, these are Breast Support Pillow. And the Breast Support Pillow, it goes underneath the breast to help the breast lift up into position when you're nursing. So you don't need to hold your breast anymore. That hands-free, now truly, there's hands-free pumping. This is hands-free nursing, okay? This is hands-free nursing. That means that, instead of holding your breast while you're nursing your baby, it holds and lifts the breast into the perfect position for you. Comes in 4 different sizes, so depending on what size you need, see, lots of different sizes. It's fantastic. And that too, I will show you some pictures later and some stuff for it. So nice. Yeah. And so we're going to have one winner for the breast support pillow. If you want to win that, again, love this post, tell me why you need it. And a lot of you do need it. I've had people writing to me that they got the breast support pillow and it was like a game changer for them, a complete game changer. And I could tell that would, for me, I used to hold my breast when I was nursing all the time. And I don't have extremely large breasts. It's just, to get the right positioning, to get the nipple into the baby's mouth properly, I needed to support the breast. And that kept my hands kind of occupied the whole entire time.
Especially when they're tiny, when baby's so tiny, it's really, there's a kind of a lot of guiding there, isn't there?
Totally. Yeah, it helps. It really, and it also helps for multiple too. So moms who are nursing too, or if you're tandem feeding, having that hands-free is just, there's nothing like it. Actually, I'm going to show a picture of it right now because a lot of times moms don't really quite get what this is and what it looks like until they see it in action. Okay, so I don't know if you could see right underneath her breast there how it's holding up the breast into position. There's another great picture. I do have there's a good one. Okay, so that's a real good close-up showing how, and you can see, look where the breast is. It's really lifted up and straight into the baby's mouth versus the tugging that can happen when the baby, the weight of the breast is pulling the breast down from the baby's mouth. And that could really make a difference as well when your baby is starting to get teeth. That was one of the questions that actually came in today was, her child was getting her teeth. And so there's like a scraping feeling that she's having. And the answer that I was going to have, let me even find that question. But the answer I had for her was really to try to get the baby lifted a little higher instead of letting the baby drag down or letting the breast drag down, because it will pull, the baby's teeth will pull and cause a sensation of scraping. If the baby's not positioned right. We'll get to that question, but that was one of the questions that actually came into me. There's so many pages. There's so many pages. So maybe I should get started. What do you think, Rebecca?
Yep, let's go for it.
Let's get started. Okay, so first question, this one's for you, Rebecca. Okay, came in from Susie. And Susie said, how do you get a baby, 8-month-old, to fall asleep at night without breastfeeding them to sleep? It's my only foolproof way of getting her to go down, and I'd like another option. She goes down other ways for grandma and hubby when I'm out, but not for me.
Okay, that's really, really common, especially with that age, that you get a child who, for mom, will only nurse down to sleep. Because you have to remember, there's a couple of reasons here. Mom is just the most amazing person on the planet. She really, really is. And just the breastfeeding is super, super comfort. It's not just the whole sleep. It's not just the whole food. It's the attachment and it's the comfort as well. And I think that's really, really important. But that doesn't mean that you are always going to have to nurse and breastfeed your child to sleep. If you're ready to be working on other ways to do this. I think actually 8 months old is a really great age for getting started with moving away from this. And it doesn't mean that it's big, scary sleep training, because it may be that actually you're comfortable with being really hands-on or even rocking your child to sleep. So what I would suggest that you do would be initially to start at the very beginning of your routine with a nursing. So normally you're nursing right at the end of your nighttime routine. That's how you're getting your child to sleep. So what I would do is right at the beginning of that routine, have a little bit of a nurse then. It doesn't have to be really, really long, but just a little bit of a nurse. Go through your routine as you normally do, and that's going to end with the nursing where you're nursing your child down to sleep. Now, because they've already had some milk at the beginning, they may not be quite so hungry, and so they will not nurse so much, which means that they're probably not going to be falling into such a deep sleep. So because they're just kind of full. So you can either unlatch, or they may naturally unlatch, and you can just continue to hold. So let's say you will have been nursing for 10 minutes right at the very end, and that's how your child's falling asleep. With that little nursing you've done beforehand, you may be comfortable getting to 8 minutes and unlatching your child, and then you can rock them for that last 2 minutes, and then you'll be able to put them down. And then every 3 or 4 nights, because I always like to make changes every 3 or 4 nights, don't do it every other night. That's just a little bit confusing. So every 3 or 4 nights, you could then reduce down like another minute or another couple of minutes. So they're still getting that milk that they were getting at the beginning of the routine, but they're more likely to be not needing to nurse into a deep sleep. You can do that then with the holding and the rocking. So you could then be nursing for 4 minutes less or 5 minutes less even.
Yeah.
So you're still going to be holding them for that long, but they're not then nursing into the deeper sleep. So the nursing is still part of the routine at the beginning and then right at the end, but you're not needing to do it to get them into the deep sleep. So that's a really super gentle, slower way of working on moving away from nursing right at the end.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I think that like what you're saying is the gradual reduction does start to get them into a completely different routine.
Yeah.
And it can't happen overnight, and expect it, because they're used to you nursing. So babies really do get into routines. Children love routines.
Oh, totally.
And so, when we're like, why won't they stop doing what I've been doing this whole time? It's like, they love routines. But the good news about that, so that's the bad news, but then the good news about that is that you can create a new routine. You actually created the routine you're in, and you can create the new routine that you're going to do.
Yeah, totally. And because it's such a gentle way, it's not going to be leaving you feeling engorged or anything like that. That's not going to happen. And you're still then giving your child the help and the support it is that they need. You're not just suddenly cutting them off. So it's a much more supportive way for your child to be reducing down that feeding right at the very end of the day.
Totally. Very good. Very good. We have a few offers to talk about tonight that I want to make sure that we were talking about the prizes before earlier and the winners. If you want to get information about the prizes, and also there's a place to register. If you just type prizes right now in the comments, just type the word prizes or prize, either one will work. You will get a message from me about the prizes tonight. So that way you can register for them, you can learn about them, you can see where you can get them and all that other stuff after the show. It'll be right there in your messenger inbox. Just type the word prizes, okay? And I also want to tell you about Rebecca's Sleep Academy. Okay, Rebecca has an awesome Sleep Academy. It is a private Facebook group, as well as, well, I'll let you tell them.
Yeah, okay. So the Sleep Academy is...
I'm so excited about your academy.
It's an online member site that I have where you will find step-by-step instructions for gently sleep training. And that's looking at your child's unique temperament, looking at your unique circumstances, and then using a really gentle hands-on sleep training technique to be working on getting you less and less involved as the nights go on. So you will find step-by-step instructions for that. You're also going to find a whole page which has got information on common and not so common sleep issues, and then how to address these. So, for example, we have moving from 2 to 1 naps, dropping the final nap completely, dealing with early wake-ups, dealing with toddler sleep issues, dealing with wake-ups that are happening during the night out of habit, working on reducing night feeds. And then these go really in depth with videos and workbooks on how to be working on these different scenarios. We have a really active private Facebook group where I am in there every single day answering people's questions. And you're also going to get the support from other members as well. And within that group, we have a weekly live Q&A where I'm going on. So it's a little bit like this, where I'm going on and I'm just answering people's questions. And so we'll have people join live. But if they can't join live, they can leave their questions. And I am there until every question is answered, however long that takes. You can also set up private calls with me. And it's a really great place to get support when you're working on more independent sleep, but without feeling intimidated, without feeling inadequate. You are the most amazing parent, and we as members and myself want to help and support you on your journey to getting some better sleep.
Awesome. Perfect. And it is a great way to continue working with Rebecca on a more personal level, and to get all, because it's hard to get everything you need just from the Q&As that we're doing tonight. We try to answer as many questions as we can, but we're giving you this information because we know that after we get off this hour, you're going to have more that you want and you need to help you with your sleep journey. So Joe already posted it here, but we're going to help you out with that. Just type the word academy, okay, academy here in the chat, like so many of you are doing right now. That way you won't have to go find Rebecca. It will come to you, okay? Going to send you a little message with information on how to learn more about Rebecca's program and her sleep academy, okay? The link didn't work to register for prizes, okay? Well, yeah, Joseph, sometimes when a lot of people are doing it at the same time, it doesn't work, okay? So just try again, and it should work because a lot of you are getting it. And remember, once you get your message, you actually have to type that word again in your messenger to get the information, but it'll give you instructions there on how to do that, okay? And then should I give them the big announcement too?
Yeah, go on.
All right, so one more announcement because this is a big one. And so many of you guys have heard me talk about my membership site, about My Baby Experts that I've been able to put together that has all of my online courses, as well as the library, the full video library with over 800 videos. And like I said, this is 10 years of doing these live streams on every single topic, as well as my private Facebook group in there too for all of my students. I launched it earlier this year, and you know, we've been charging for people to enter. But one thing that I found is that I have tried to find ways for all of you all these years to make sure that no matter where you are, no matter what's happening in your life, whether you can afford it or not, that should not make a difference on whether you should get this good breastfeeding as well as new parenting education. And with all the amazing sponsors that I work with, all the amazing brand partners that I work with, we have found a way to make the My Baby Experts membership free for everyone.
Woo!
So let's get a woohoo for that, because that is the thing that I want the most, is that for all of you to have this information at your fingertips. So I could literally cry talking about it, but what's going to happen is everyone's going to get to join us. You will be able to join us for free. No one is going to pay. Let's get some hearts going across the screen and just thank our partners for this, because Even Flow, Love to Dream, Rachel's Remedy, you know, Kudos, and Breast Support Pillow, and all of our favorites, Back Buddy, they're the ones who've made all of this possible. And so everyone's going to get to win. Okay. Now it's not ready yet. It'll be ready very soon. I'm getting all the things in place so that you guys can just all join, jump in, and watch everything and have access to all of it. So is that the best news ever? I mean, could I be any more happy about this? I am so happy and so excited and can't wait to have you all in my private group so that we can all be together all the time. Yes, Even Flow. Yes, big hearts for Even Flow. This was a big part of what they decided to do to help all moms, regardless of which pump you have, regardless of where you are in your life, you will have this, okay? Yes, fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, yay. So that's all of our announcements tonight. That was a lot to say. Let's keep going with questions because we still have a lot to answer, okay? And yes, type member and you will get the information. You'll actually get on a waiting list and I will send you a link. You'll be the first to know. I promise you. I promise. I will send you a link if you go there, and then I will. You'll know exactly when it's ready. Okay, this one came in from Brianna. Brianna said, my son is 5 weeks old, is rarely fussy during the day, but seems to be exceptionally fussy at night. We went from having nights and days backwards to transitioning to slightly longer sleep periods at night. However, when he does wake to nurse, he nurses for a short time and becomes wiggly, loses his latch and fussy. Then he takes a couple of hours to settle where I can lay him back down to sleep again. Then he'll sleep like 1.5 hours or so, and we're back up doing the same thing. What gives? We don't experience this at all during the daytime. So when I read this question, Brianna, what came to mind was, you know, lots of times daytime and nighttime nursing can be very different. Sometimes these are short little feeds during the night, and that's normal for them to wake up, to feed quickly, to go back to sleep. But what you're describing too, this fussiness at night, my first thought is usually you have more milk during the night than you have during the day. It's when our breasts are the fullest during those nighttime hours. And very often when the breast is full and the baby's latching to eat, they could swallow a lot of air. There's more gulping that's going on. And so initially when the baby first latches, if the breast is full and you have a heavy letdown, the baby's going to gulp and swallow lots of air right in the beginning of that feeding. And because it's nighttime and because you're sleeping and because the baby's sleeping and trying to keep the whole thing short and quick and back to sleep, you may not be burping the baby the way the baby needs, and at the time when the baby needs it the most, when they're gulping the hardest. So I really would pay attention to make sure that you're burping your baby, that you're paying attention for those gulps and getting that air out, because those little tiny air bubbles are going to cause that baby to be fussy. And when you don't get that air out and you allow it to keep going down and adding more milk on top of it, those air bubbles now, what could have been a quick out, come out, now has to travel through their intestines, and it's going to take a long time, and they're going to be uncomfortable. And so they're going to wake more frequently, and all the other things that you're talking about. It's really worth it. When I work with my private clients, I always talk about this. Even if you're tempted to just like nurse and put the baby back because the baby fell asleep and you're like, just put the baby back, don't burp them. Burp them, because that burping, even if it feels like it's going to wake the baby up more, will actually be the thing that helps you sleep a little bit longer. Get that air out, help the baby to get the air out. And that's why I think you're experiencing something different at night than you are during the day. There's like a difference between, and then the evening is a whole other situation, okay? But I think what you're describing is nighttime, middle of the night. And that makes the most sense to me. And as the night progresses, your milk supply usually increases more and more towards the morning hours. So you may see this first thing in the morning as well, where the baby may, you said becomes wiggly, loses his latch, and fussy. All signs that there's a heavy letdown, all signs that there's air being swallowed. Mm-hmm. And so make sure you're doing my burping method. That's really, if you haven't seen the burp, I actually have it queued up. We tried to play it last time. I'm going to play the burping method right now. And actually somebody else's question, somebody had the same question. Rosalind was asking also about burping and a bellyache and, and she's watched the video and it works for her, is what she said. I'm going to go ahead and play the video. We tried to do this last time and it didn't work. So let's just cross our fingers and ask for the video gods to be good to us. And let's try it. Okay, so here's the burping video. I want to be able to show you how to properly and effectively burp your baby. Now, many people think that a breastfed baby does not need to burp, and nothing could be further from the truth. Anyone who swallows air, and whether they're bottle feeding or breastfeeding, they're going to swallow air. The best way to get your baby to burp is, one, to make sure that your baby is not crying, and also to make sure that your baby is awake. So right now, Shayna is awake, but she is a little bit fussy, and that fussiness is going to cause her to tense up her diaphragm and not allow the burp to come out. You'll see most people, when they go to burp their baby, they will pat their baby this way. And although sometimes this can be effective, the other thing it can do is cause your baby to tense. Patting is really not necessary in burping your baby and can actually make it more difficult to get the air out. Think about it. When you need to burp, no one needs to pat you on the back. You just need to be upright and you need to be relaxed. So the key to burping your baby is to hold your baby in a position that will help to put a little bit of pressure on their diaphragm and at the same time cause them to completely relax. The way that I do that is I take my thumb and my forefinger, put it right under the baby's jaw, not around the baby's neck, but just under the jaw, while my pinky goes right under their arm. This will help to stabilize their neck and their head together. With your other hand, put it underneath the baby's bottom like this, and gently lean the baby forward so that they can't arch their back and throw themselves backwards, and at the same time, putting a little bit of pressure on that diaphragm in the front. Once you're in the right position, you've got a good grip on your baby, move your baby up and down around the same speed and distance that I'm going right now. What you will see is that even on a baby that starts to cry or that is fussy, they will relax with this motion. Up and down, nice and gently, but enough where they can feel it. If your baby continues to cry while you're doing this, you can also gently shush in their ear. You can see how Shane is relaxing immediately as I'm doing that. That shushing will also help them to relax. Do that until the baby burps, which usually is not very long. It's a very effective way of doing it. As you can see, I'm going to get some really strong biceps from doing it this way. And for small babies, that works. And if you're strong enough to do it, this is great for dads. Dads do great with burping. But if you're a mom and you're sitting in your breastfeeding position and you're on the couch or your arms are tired or your baby's large, this may not work for you. Another way that you can do it is take the baby. Instead of putting the baby right to your shoulder, you're going to exaggerate that a little bit more so that it goes up over your shoulder this way. That way your baby's diaphragm is now on your shoulder. So what you were doing with your hand before, you're now accomplishing with your shoulder. When the baby's in this position, you can gently move up and down, up and down, up and down until you get the burp. Okay, you can also shush from this position as well. As soon as your baby burps, right back to the breast, right back to the bottle, whichever way you're feeding, and your baby will be fine. Thank you, Shayna. All right. Yay. Okay, let's get rid of this. Okay, I think that worked. It looked a little choppy, but I think you guys got the point. And if you haven't watched that burping video, it's so important for you to understand how to do this right instead of all that padding that so many parents do. And I saw a bunch of you here in the chat room. What I love watching the chat here and seeing all of you guys, Nadia, Chelsea, everybody saying they've used this method and it worked really well for them. Yeah, it's been really great. And I've had over 4 million views on that burping video. Can you imagine? And there are people writing on there that, they've never been able to get a burp out of their baby and it's working. Go ahead and try it and then make sure you come back and tell me on my page that it's working if you've tried it, because I love to hear good feedback. But it's a really effective method for burping, and you got to do it frequently. Usually it's just a few motions up and down, baby burps, right back to the breast. And that's where I'm saying having to take the baby off during a feeding is very common, very common. All right, and if you're having trouble with all your keywords, I know I made you all crazy with all your keywords tonight. Don't worry, okay? Sometimes it gets a little hung up. Afterwards, you can type it again in here into the live chat even when we're done, and you should get the information. So don't worry. I'll even post about it, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, let's do a sleep question, right, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is from Caitlin. Caitlin said, my son is 2 months old and he refuses to sleep in his bassinet or his crib. He will only sleep in his vibrating chair or his car seat. He does have reflux, but is there another alternative to help him sleep in his bassinet? That way I can sleep in bed instead of on my couch.
Yeah. It's the reflux. That's what's really, I think, is making him uncomfortable. And he's on that incline when he's in the vibrating chair and in the car seat. And that is just much more of a comfortable position for him to be in. So when he's laying flat down in the bassinet, he's just refluxing. And refluxing is when the stomach contents are coming back up. And it could be that he's spitting up. It could be that he's not spitting up. So what you can do, which may really, really help, would be to put the bassinet, the head end of the bassinet, put some books under the feet of the bassinet and just raise it up a little bit. It doesn't necessarily need to be really, really high because then he's just going to roll down. So don't even think about trying to get the same angle as you would in a car seat or in the chair. Just a little bit. It's going to be really helpful. You may also find that a little bit of pressure on the tummy is helpful. So you could maybe get a receiving blanket and just sort of put something even under his clothes, just sort of make like a cummerbund and just sort of wrap that around his tummy. Not too tight, but just a teeny bit of pressure can really, really help as well. So that incline, a little bit of pressure, that's going to really be helping. Holding him up after feeding, especially during the night, and I know this is the time we do not want to necessarily be holding up and feeding, much like with the burping. We're just all very tempted to, okay, quick, you're asleep, laying down. But actually having the time for the stomach contents to settle, and that can be kind of even up to 20 minutes of holding before laying back down. And I know that sounds so very awful, having to sit up and hold your child for 20 minutes when all you want to do is sleep. But if it means that they're actually then going to be able to sleep for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours, whatever, then it's worth putting in that extra effort beforehand. So making sure that they're burped, making sure that all the stomach contents have just sort of had a chance to settle, then something, a little bit of pressure on the tummy and sleeping on a little bit of an angle should really help. If you're really struggling, go and talk with your pediatrician, because you can get a wedge. That your child can sleep in a wedge if the reflux is really bad, and that is at a much higher angle. It's made out of foam and it has harnesses and straps on it, so it's really super safe. But you would need to talk to your pediatrician about that, and they could certainly help you with that.
Yeah. Just a word on reflux. There's so many babies that are diagnosed with reflux that really have some kind of other issue that is really not reflux. And, Rebecca mentioned it, like burping your baby enough. And what we were talking about earlier, where you're not recognizing the amount of air that the baby's swallowing, whether that's from a poor latch or from an oversupply, or, just the way that when you're nursing, so that the baby maybe, it's certain times of the day when the milk supply is highest. Those are all reasons that can cause your baby to have symptoms of reflux that really can be controlled and dealt with in different ways, like burping. And one other thing to consider, that if your baby is having a lot of reflux, often that's from swallowing a lot of air, and that could be from a tongue or a lip tie. And so just want you to keep that in mind, that if your baby's already on medications and nobody's been able to give you real reasons of why are they swallowing so much air? Why is the latch not, why are you hearing that clicking sound when they're nursing? Why are they slipping off the nipple and unable to create a good seal or create a good latch? It's not always, you're not always going to feel pain with a tongue or a lip tie. You're not always going to have an issue where the baby's not gaining weight or you're not making enough milk. Sometimes that happens over time, where your baby's 2 months old that you're describing here. And it could happen where, for the first 2 months, you have plenty of milk, but because that lip tie or tongue tie was misdiagnosed as reflux, now you may start to see your milk supply start to dwindle because it was never addressed and there really wasn't a good enough latch. I talk about it like, they're really just opening their mouth and the milk's just pouring into it. They're not really getting a good seal onto the breast. And that can definitely, they call that aerophagia, where the baby does swallow a lot of air. So please make sure that you're checking that out too anytime you have a diagnosis of reflux. Okay, yeah. And good answer. Thank you, Rebecca. Awesome. Let's see here. How about a breastfeeding question like, lots of fussy babies. A lot of these questions were about fussy babies. I'm glad we played the burping video tonight.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of the questions here. 1-month-olds that latches for 5 straight hours during the day. This is from Tony Ray. My son is 1 month and 10 days, usually latches on to me for about 5 hours or more straight during the day. He may be fussy at times. I also noticed that he cries during the first few minutes of breastfeeding. What seems to be the problem? First few minutes of breastfeeding, again, what we just said, the baby latches on, There's a heavy letdown right in the beginning, babies gulping, choking, gagging, babies stiffening their body out. And you'll see this. This is what happens. The baby's not going to necessarily tell you, I've got a burp. The baby's going to latch on. They're going to be kind of like choking a little on the milk. And then all of a sudden their back arches and they start to pull away. And this is literally right into the beginning of the feeding. The first few minutes, you'll be like, why is the baby pulling away? And you're kind of pulling them closer towards you, like, don't unlatch. But what they're really saying is, I just swallowed a huge air bubble. Burp me. Okay, that's what they're telling you when the body kind of stiffens out and pulls back. So have you guys noticed that with your babies when you're latching? And sometimes this happens like in the first few weeks or months after the baby's born when you're still kind of engorged, or first thing in the morning, or right after a growth spurt. That can happen too, where you've had a growth spurt, the baby's been eating every hour for a few days. They're going through a growth spurt and it seems like you're not making enough milk. And then all of a sudden you have like double milk because you did all the right things by staying on demand with your feedings. And all of a sudden your milk supply just bounces back with, fury and says, oh, okay, make a lot. And then all of a sudden you're back to gagging and choking and the baby pulling off. But those are all reasons that would cause your baby to be fussy like that, for sure. Let me see if there's one more question that's not about fussy. All right, the teeth question, we already answered one of those. Okay, let's do this one. Jaria said, I think I said that right, Jaria. I really need tips on how to increase my milk supply. My baby was born at 36 weeks and latched on great the first 2 days, although I wasn't supplying much of anything at all. She's 2 weeks old now and only latches for about 5 minutes when I do get her to latch. And when I pump, I get about 3 ounces from the right boob and 1 ounce from the left. That's only during one pumping session in the morning. I try my best to pump every 2 to 3 hours, but I'm not getting much at all after the first pump. I'm having to supplement with formula, but really want to do strictly breast milk. I eat oatmeal. I try to drink the mother's milk tea, but it tastes awful. Help me. Okay. So, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about having the membership for free for all of you, because one of my full-length courses is on low milk supply. And I know several of you here in the chat who have actually watched that class, and some of you who found me through that class, okay? But it's a really good course on low milk supply. So much of low milk supply is really a perception issue, okay? And I'm gonna comment here here's some perception issues about low milk supply. She was 36 weeks, right? The baby was born at 36 weeks. She latched on great for the first 2 days, although she wasn't supplying much at all. Nobody makes a lot of milk in the first 2 days. The first 2 days, you're still producing colostrum. And so I wouldn't expect you to see a lot of milk in those first 2 days. That's just normal. And so understanding that you shouldn't have had a lot of milk those first 2 days wouldn't have made you feel like something was wrong from the start. Because that's how I'm reading this question, is that Juria feels like from the very first day, there was something wrong. And there was nothing wrong. Okay. The second thing that she's mentioning here is that now she's 2 weeks old. She only latches for about 5 minutes. Okay. Now that could actually be, now I'm not saying that she doesn't have a low milk supply. She's been supplementing too. She's been pumping. I have no idea what's going on for her without actually talking to her. But what I want everyone to understand is that the feedings eventually do get shorter. And when there's a lot of milk, like when you're engorged, when you're 2 weeks postpartum, and there's a lot of milk, those feedings may be very quick because the baby may be getting a lot of milk very quickly. When you talk about being able to use a pump and get 4 ounces out with your pump, there's no milk supply issue there. There's just no milk supply issue there. So I can already tell, like, if you can pump 4 ounces, even if you're saying it's only that first feeding in the morning where you're getting that 4 ounces, and then after that you're not pumping a lot at all. My feeling is that it's not a milk supply issue, it's a perception issue, and that there is enough milk and your baby's eating quickly, and then you're trying to pump after the baby already ate, and those feedings the rest of the day, yeah, you may not be able to get the pump to stimulate more than what the baby's already eaten. Okay, so the first thing I would say is, you need to see a lactation consultant. You need to be working with an IBCLC. Just talking to your pediatrician is getting you to this point. Okay, so wherever you are right now, this is conversations with your pediatrician that are really not guiding you in the right direction. You need to be working with somebody so they can do a weighed feeding. That means that you can weigh the baby before and after you feed at the breast. See how much the baby's actually getting. If you are supplementing, you could start to create a milk supply issue by doing that. And so that's why time is really of the essence right now, Daria. If you are continuing to supplement with no supply issue, you will actually eventually create one. And now you have the problem you thought you had that you never had. All right, so I'm going to just say that really clearly because this is, I would say, the majority of moms. I'm not saying all moms have, don't really have a milk supply issue. There are moms who have a true milk supply issue for medical reasons. And then there are the moms who have a low milk supply because of a secondary issue, because they created something like this that actually caused a true milk supply issue. And then there are the majority of moms who think they have a milk supply issue that don't understand just how breastfeeding works or how much they're supposed to be making. I cover all that in my class, which you will all have access to very shortly, okay? But first things first, if you're the one dealing with this, if you're Daria or anyone like Daria listening to this, please go get help right away. Don't create a problem so that now we have to fix it, all right? Okay, awesome. Let's get some hearts going across the screen. Let's get some hearts. Are you all still there? Are you all still awake? Or did Rebecca teach you how to all go to sleep?
I'm pretty good, but I don't think I'm that
good. All right, Rebecca, next question. Let's see. Lara, and I know Lara's in the chat room, so let's answer Lara's question that she posted, okay? My 17-month-old still wakes to nurse at night, and if I take too long to get him, he is wide awake and won't go back down until 2 or 3 a.m. So we co-sleep in our big bed while the hubby sleeps in the guest bed in our older son's room. I miss adult cuddles, but I'm also exhausted from being up way too late with my sweet insomniac. I love the way she describes him. What is a gentle way to night wean? With my oldest, it didn't happen until he was 2, and I was 5 months pregnant at my wit's end. And the middle stopped early, so I'm at a loss. Hubby and I are so exhausted lately and need to get some uninterrupted sleep together.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Uninterrupted together. That's amazing.
Isn't that a nice thing?
There's some actually really simple, easy things that we can do to see if we can just, one, stretch out time between feeds. And so there's so many different ways that we could do this as well. And it just depends on how your level of done, it really does. It may be, okay, let's go about this super, super gently. Let's just rip that Band-Aid off and let's be done feeding during the night. I'm not a huge fan of that, just being done feeding during the night. But there's some simple things that you can do that can have such a huge impact. One of them being sitting up to nurse rather than laying down to nurse. You would not believe the positive impact that this can have on reducing down night feeds. I worked with a family who had a child she was a little bit older. She was around 2 years old. And we did this where mom was laying down and bed sharing for the majority of the night and just letting her child nurse whenever. And then it got to the point that was no longer working. And so then what I had mom do was to actually sit up and nurse for those feedings. And the child, we actually managed to night wean the child by just doing that. We didn't have to do anything else. So we were still being there, helping and supporting and feeding the child, but it wasn't so comfortable for the child because then they were having to be placed down. It just wasn't as comfortable for them. And I made sure then as well that mom was switching sides halfway through. So it's not as comfortable for the child. It does as well also mean that it's not as comfortable for mom because she's having to sit up as well. But if you can reduce down to completely no feeds during the night, or you can even just lose one of those feeds during the night by just doing that, then that's a great thing to try. So I would just if you're helping a child as quickly as possible, certainly do that. Just sit up, Make sure you're comfortable. Then just grab your child, latch them on, and you can swap halfway through. And then once they're asleep, you can then lay them down. And then just see how that goes. You can do really big things. You can do some gentle sleep training where I always continue, regardless of the age, to feed a child during the night. If they are used to feeding during the night, continue to do so. But it may be, especially with a child who's this age, 17 months, that we're going to have a few rules about those feeds. One of them could be that you are going to be sitting up doing them. Another is going to be the timings that those are going to happen. So it could be if your child has been feeding, let's say, every 2 hours through the night, we would like to stretch a little bit, but not going to stretch too far. Maybe we're going to stretch to every 2.5 hours, or we're going to stretch to every 3 hours during the night. If you have a visual cue for when it's your time, when it's time to feed, and that can be turning a nightlight on or a little lamp, that is when your child knows that the feed is going to happen, not just because they woke up. So you can then have this little nightlight that you're going to sit up, you're going to latch your child on, that light is on, and then when they're latched on, you can turn that off. And if they fall asleep feeding, it's okay. You're then going to have to put them down. But you can do sort of sleep training if you need to, gentle sleep training if you need to, but I would certainly keep feeds there, because if your child falls asleep whilst it's a feed time, it's completely fine. Honestly, there's not many times you'll hear a sleep consultant say that, but it's completely fine. And in fact, I encourage it. If it's a feed time, just keep going until your child has fallen asleep, because there are going to be times you're picking up soothing and comforting when it is not a feed time. So once they've fallen asleep, just keep going, let them sleep. So think about how you want to then sort of just work on this. You just want to try the sitting up. That may have a huge impact. You could get to no feedings. It could be that they're actually spacing out a little more. Then you can think about, okay, let's see if we can space these feedings out a little more. I'm going to be rocking, I'm going to be helping when it's not a feed time, and then getting our feed times at around maybe 3, you can then stretch out to 4, 5 hours.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I've never even thought about that, but it goes to show you like how each person is so personal, like each situation, each child. And I love like how creative you are, Rebecca, coming up with techniques, and I'm sure so many of these, like for me too, when I'm teaching about breastfeeding, lots of times it's coming up in the moment with a thought of this would work, maybe this would work, try this. And I'm sure that's how you've done so many of your recommendations, is just trying things out and just getting those, seeing what other worked for other people.
Totally. And always go with the easiest option first. Always go with that, because you never know, it may be that easy. And then you can add and add and add more and more as you need to. But parenting's hard. Let's do this as easy as possible.
Totally. I want to just go back quickly to our prize for tonight with Love to Dream. It's such an amazing line of sleep products that I just want to make sure that everybody gets the information that they need about it. I want to show a few pictures here, and you guys are going to actually get the opportunity to. There's 3 winners. So I don't know if you're hearing an echo. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo, but there are 3 winners for the Love to Dream. You'll get to pick whatever one you want, whether it's their designer collection, their 50/50, their swaddle up. It has such great features. And I actually have a little video that I want to show you guys before we finish the night tonight. So hold on one second. Here's a little video that shows you the 50/50. And that's the one that has the zip off arms. And it helps your baby to transition from a swaddle to a sleep sack. And this actually zips completely off. And you'll see that in the video that I'm going to show, where you could take this off and transition them gently from having their arms in to having their arms out. So let's just watch this for a second. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, and play. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Whoop. Come on, go away. What happened? Hold on. Here. I knew it couldn't be too good to be true tonight, right?
Yeah, it was.
You knew it, right? Okay. Where am I?
And what I love about the Love to Dream, it is the easiest swaddle out there to transition out of. It just is. Because that arms up is a more natural position. As you can imagine, if you've spent months when you're sleeping having your arms pinned down to your side, and now suddenly you have use of them, you're not going to sleep very well. But this is a much more natural sleeping position, which makes transitioning out of so much easier. I've worked with so many families and they're trying to transition their child out of the swaddle, out of something that has arms down. I will get them to get a Love to Dream and get into that first, and then it's so easy to transition out of.
Totally, totally. I mean, it's really a genius product and invention of having the arms up, but then also, like we were saying, having something that they can press against, because having their arms just free and loose, they're going to continue to wake themselves up. And with this, they don't. But it also gives them that, remember before when Rebecca talked about that belly pressure, you know, having something tight around the belly. And this does that. It has that nice compression around their abdomen, which again helps them to sleep better, helps them to stay calmer. It puts them into a calmer state to have that. And then it also gives rooms for their hips to be out, their legs to be splayed. You don't want their hips to be in that straight line when they're swaddled really, really tight. You want their hips to be able to develop properly in this nice open position. And it also has that zipper that you saw in the video where you can change them from the bottom up. So we like that as moms. And there's the 50-50 and a swaddle up. And again, we're gonna give away 3 of them today. If you have a swaddle up or a 50-50, or if you've used it yourself, go ahead and type right here into the chat. Let everybody know how it's worked for you. We have so many. I've been working with Love to Dream for over a year now. Well over a year. And we just have so many moms and dads who have just sent us letters telling us how much they love this product. And it's like one of the favorites here. And I also want to really thank Love to Dream and Breast Support Pillow, because they are 2 of the partners that have made the education possible, whether that's these live streams that we're doing for the last year, to now an entire education platform that will be available to all of you because of their support and because of their belief in having good quality education. And I can't tell you how happy that makes me to know that they're there with me and that they support it. And what we want is good products that provide that tool for parents, which these are, and at the same time recognize the need for quality education, real knowledge, you know, not misinformation, which there's so much out there, but really good information so you can make the right choices for yourself, for your baby, for your families, and just have a happy journey, because this can be a really stressful time in your life. And the more you know, the better you can do, the better you can make choices. I always say that without good knowledge, it's not really a choice. Without good information, when it's not real information, it's not really a choice, because you didn't know what the choice was that you might have made if you had known. And I can see some of you typing that here in the chat saying, I wish I had found this earlier on. Don't look back. Just look forward, and we're really happy that you're here with us. And for all the new people, and recommend it, tell your friends about it. New moms, if you know somebody, as soon as it goes and it's launched for free, spread it around and share that with people, because I think that that's the best gift we can give. Yeah. So I think we're going to say goodnight. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast.
Yep, it's just 7 o'clock here, so I still have time to cook dinner.
You're going to cook dinner, and I'm going to bed. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for being here again. Really love having you. Really,
yes, it's always fun, and you always have such great people commenting, such amazing questions.
Aren't they the best? The best, best. You know, we're doing what we're doing here, but you guys are the other half of this live streams. You know, the live streams are not about Rebecca and I, they're about you. And so having you there in the chat, and believe me, we're reading and that's why I keep looking over. I'm not distracted. I'm distracted by all of you. Seeing all of your names and just imagining you there with your babies, and grateful that you're here with us. Rebecca and I are talking about doing more of these during the month so that we may be coming to you a lot sooner than next month, possibly. So if you love it, if you're happy, if you want more, go ahead and let us know. And if these words that you typed in, these keywords tonight didn't work, don't panic. Okay, don't panic. You'll be able to go back in after and put them in again. It's just, it gets a little overwhelmed sometimes with that many people trying. That's all. All right. Good night, everyone. Good night, Love to Dream. Good night, Breast Support Pillow. Good night, Rebecca. And good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.